Well, that is Kingdom by Ruth La Ontra. The time is exactly 6 minutes past 10 a.m. here in the Bay. You're tuned into Agape FM, your best online radio in town. Yes, we bring the good news of Jesus Christ, the gospel. That's why we are here. If you are tuning in now, whether you are on our radio platform or you are listening to us and viewing us on our social media, that is Facebook, I am John and I'm going to be with you until about 12 p.m. today. But with me is none other than our very own Pastor Khaya Sodladla. This is the Art of Building a Healthy Marriage show, featuring every Monday at 10 a.m. Well, on this show, we talk about how to work out your marriage, the tools that you need, the information that you need to transform your marriage. And we know that, marriage is not always, hunky-dory. It's not always, it's not a walk in the park. And we want to help you, through the knowledge and wisdom that God has given our man of God, Pastor Khaya Sodladla. So I am going to read his bio. He's a very experienced and knowledgeable man in this field. So Khaya C. Sodladla is a designated marriage officer, and he, together with his wife, Zimkita Sodladla, are pastors to His Grace Tabernacle in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. They are both passionate about ministering to singles and married couples. Over the years, through the local radio program directed at married couples, they used to host in the small South African frontier town of Aliwal North Christian counseling programs, and through their local churches, church couples ministry. They have impacted and revived many ailing marriages. They are blessed with 3 wonderful children, Gift, Lidwala and Ntando, and they make Port Elizabeth, now called South Africa, their home. Welcome. It's great to have you once again, Pastor. You are very welcome.
Thank you, Prejudice. It's always an honor and a privilege to be here. And greetings to all the listeners and the viewers back there at home.
Awesome. So, ladies and gents, if you have not yet gotten a hold of this incredible book called The Art of Building a Healthy Marriage, we do encourage you to get it. It's by the man that you see on the screen. He's a very fantastic man and a friend of mine. I've learned a lot from him. He's impacted my life, positively, and I can't wait to put, the word to practice. So today we're going to look at a very interesting topic. If you're tuning in, please pass on the message. Tell a friend to tune in. Today is going to be the last session of confrontation, but I will not take the words from him. I would like Pastor to introduce the topic for today.
Thank you, Brother John. I think as he has already said, that today we are we are concluding the topic on communication. We started earlier on. We dealt primarily and mostly with the part of confrontation in communication. We started by talking about what we call the confrontational tones, which plays a very big role because it defines and determines what your spouse hears when you communicate. So your tone, your audio tone, your body language, your heart tone, which is very crucial. What space are you in when you communicate will define and determine what outcomes you will receive or you will get from the communication. We spoke about, heart tone for me was the highlight of the tones because we said if you are angry, if you are bitter, if you are disappointed, if emotionally you are not in the right space, that's what you will, project through your communication.
Sure.
And we spoke about, there are things that you can do. We talk about the love letters.
Yes.
Sometimes if you're not ready to speak to somebody, you need to, it helps sometimes to write a letter, communicate how you feel. Because when you write a letter, you get the time to internalize and think about what you're going to say so that you don't end up saying things you will regret later on, which normally happens
Sure.
when you speak out of hyped emotions. Number two, we spoke about, you can take a time out. If you're not yet if you're not yet ready, if you're not yet in the right space, try to ask for permission to pause whatever communication and wait, or don't confront until you are in the right space, because you might say or do things that you do not mean. We spoke about, seeking intervention, because sometimes you're not ready to deal with this, the two of you. You are too emotional about this, and therefore you need somebody else to come in and intervene. We spoke about the 4 fouls of communication. We spoke about the owl foul. When you say foul, as if you're playing a game and you make those faults that you do, the mistakes that you make, and we call them the fouls. It's also the fouls as in birds. And these fowls, we spoke about the owl, the dove, the eagle, and the ostrich. And we say, look at yourself and be careful which fowl might you be without you even being aware. You might be committing a foul, and you need to be aware, and so that you can correct, because it will go a long way in your communication. Number 3, we spoke about the timing of confrontation, because we said confrontation, by the way, is crucial. Communication in marriage is not to do away with confrontation, because confrontation is the healthy and necessary part of marriage.
Absolutely.
You cannot be married if you are not having any confrontation, but it doesn't need to be negative. It can be positive. It can be something good, because that's when you are meshing together and starting to get together to agree and see things the same way. But you've got to be willing to talk about it. So we say, now you need to be therefore careful. Where do you confront it? Is the timing right? Is the place right? Because sometimes we make mistakes by confronting each other when the timing is not the best timing. And the last part, which we are concluding today, we are speaking about the toxic techniques of communication. In other words, sometimes when we communicate, the way that we communicate sometimes can actually sabotage our endeavor to confront each other in a healthy manner. Now, today we're going to talk about 2 of them, the last 2, which is prejudice, and number 2, which is using sex in order to deprivation, to deprive each other sexually, to try and teach each other a lesson, or to try and communicate your discomfort or your unhappiness, or confrontation technique, which is wrong.
Absolutely.
Now let's go to prejudice. According to the dictionary, let me read it quickly. I have according to the dictionary.com, prejudice is a preconceived opinion that is not based on reason, on experience. You don't have facts. You don't have a reason. You don't have proof. You don't have something to hold on, but you depend on your feelings. I just know. You just have this assumption that something is happening, and you make a conclusion based on a feeling, based on assumption, based on hearsay. And then by the time you confront the person, and having concluded that you have already done this, Now, when you get confronted by such a person, you don't know how frustrating it is. Because once they make up their mind and conclude, no matter what you try to say, no matter what you try to do, they've already concluded you have done this. I just know.
I just know.
I just know. I've got a sixth sense about these things.
Oh my word.
What if your sixth sense is wrong? What if you're wrong? No, there are people like those who depend so much on how they feel about something. And unfortunately, when you are confronting somebody, you're having that, prejudice, having, in a prejudice way, it actually frustrates them, but more so, it brings up the bitterness and the anger.
Sure.
Now, where it becomes more dangerous is when you reach an assumption and you presume that this person has done this or has not done this, only to find out you were wrong. Now, that brings a lot of challenges into your confrontation and your marriage, because this person says, I can't believe you thought of me like that. This is the other challenge that comes with it. Some people, are not good in defending themselves. Some people, that thing of flight or fight.
Yes.
Some people will just say, okay, if you think so, it's okay. Continue thinking what you're saying. Or they just lose the energy to keep on fighting. They let you be. And unfortunately, when they do that, something dies in them. Something gets messed up deep down, and they say, you know what, if you think like that about me, it's okay. And then the other will even go further and say, well, you already think, he already thinks that I'm like this anyway. Even if I do it, I'm not losing anything, which is foolishness. But I've seen many, married couples who end up doing something that is outside their character. And they will tell you their reason, which is a foolish reasoning, is, you know what, she or he thought he accused me, or he believes me, or she believes me that I am doing this. So I thought, why don't I just do it anyway, because I'm already paying the price for it. Or I wanted to show him, when I do it like this.
Hectic stuff.
So you say the issue is, for me as a leader, Brother John, I've learned. I've been a leader, a preacher. It's been years. I've been a preacher from 1992. And a leader of young people from 1992. And leading young people can be very interesting. Those people are young people are very, very powerful, interesting people. I love them.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that I've learned with the young people is they've got very fast minds. They know how to manipulate issues sometimes. And sometimes when one of the things I've learned is, if somebody gets to be accused of doing something that is not right, I have seen how they quickly reach a conclusion, not based on facts, but based on what so-and-so said about so-and-so. And that's not just about among young people, that's among human beings as a whole. It's easy for people to believe what people are saying, more than digging deeper and hearing and get the actual truth. So many characters have been destroyed in the media, especially the social media, because people are so quick to take whatever is said without looking at the side, bothering to look at the side of the person that things are said about. And many characters have been destroyed because this person was never given an opportunity to raise their side of the story. That's prejudice. Now, if you don't give somebody an opportunity, you will be surprised. Some of the people who are looked at and seen and are made to appear, as bad people. If you get close to them and hear their story, most of the time you get surprised. So my leadership time up till now, I've been a pastor, full-time pastor from 2001. It's been now 20 years.
Going strong.
Not born again, a full-time pastor. It's been now. I got ordained in 2001.
Okay, all right.
But having been a leader for that time, I've learned one or two things in leading people. One of those is never take an accusation about any believer at face value.
Wow.
Never make that mistake. I can sit here and tell you stories after stories after stories of how many times have I had and dealt with a situation where the accuser came or the accusers came and they put up the accusation, and when you look at all the facts that they're bringing and you look at all the supporting evidence, you think, no man, there's no way these people are right. Because the things just connects. I remember last week this person did this. I remember Wednesday, I saw them doing this. Now that makes sense. Have you ever got to that point?
Connecting the dots.
Now that makes sense. Until, for me, I've made it a point. When there's something like that happens, I do my best to talk to the person.
Directly.
So that I can hear, what is your story? I hear this. What is your story? What's happening?
Sure.
When you really hear the story and you come out with it and you listen from both sides of the story, that's what I normally do as a counselor as well, as a marriage coach. I never listen to if I can, I always do my best. I listen to the spouses separately. I bring my wife with, because my wife will listen to it in a feminine side of things, and I'll listen to it in the as a male, and she'll listen to it as a wife. And then when we listen to the man and hear the story, it will be so convincing that now this guy, this poor guy. Poor guy married to this ugly person. And then you go to the lady. And then you get confused. But I thought the ugly person was you, but now all of a sudden now you are now the princess. Now this one is the ugly. So it gets you to get both stories together.
Absolutely.
Never allow yourself in marriage to confront a person having a preconceived conclusion of what the matter is. Give them the opportunity. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them that thing that says, I will not believe until I hear them, until I get the facts. Because the enemy, remember, he is the liar from the beginning. He is he's a peddler. He always peddles up lies. And remember, one of the greatest enemies of our enemy is marriage. Don't think that the devil is happy when you are happy in your marriage. So I'm not saying that be gullible and accept anything and say even when somebody's doing something wrong, you accept it. But all I'm saying is don't be too quick to reach a conclusion. Advocate for them. Say, no, maybe, you know what? Try to look for the best part of the story. Until you get to that conclusion, then you'll go. Let me tell you a funny story of a woman who got to that conclusion in a funny way.
Okay.
She lived here in New Brighton, Elalini. When her husband used to go out and never come back the whole night.
Yes.
He'll be out the whole night. Come back at 5 in the morning and say, yo, my wife, you don't know what happened to me. When I was just about to turn the street, a ghost appeared. And this ghost got me lost the whole night.
Sure.
When I woke up, I was writing the gate in the shop there. Hey, the wife said, no, man, this doesn't make sense. But she gave her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the poor husband, it did not make sense, but still she gave her the benefit of the doubt. Second time it happened. Third time it happened, and then the wife, the doubts were got really stronger, but still, she never came to a conclusion until she said, I want to be sure.
Okay.
So one day, she decided, okay, I'm not coming back today. Okay. So she left the whole night. When the man came at 5 in the morning as usual, the wife was not there. Was the man fuming? The wife came back at 7 in the morning. When the wife came back, the man was standing at the gate ready to tear her apart. And says, love, I'm so sorry. You know, when you talked about the ghost, I didn't believe you. Now I believe you. Ah, poor man. You know, I really doubted you. I'm so sorry. You know what happened with me? At least for you, the ghost used to me to egg the god of the... For me, it may be right at the gate. I was just about to enter the gate. I was coming from my sister's house in that street, in the next street. And then the ghost appeared, and the whole night I've been lost. Yo, the man was angry. What are you talking about? There's no ghost here. Say.
Okay.
And the wife said, yes, I've got you now. Let's talk about your cheating ways. Last night, I was in my sister's house. You can go and ask her.
Oh, my word.
So the man was caught. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, if you're going to have a fruitful confrontation, believe me, you will always struggle. Because when somebody confronts you and they've already concluded that they are doing this thing even before they know, you can feel from the tone. You can, even the moment they say we need to talk, from that tone you already know this person, whatever they're going to talk about, I'm already the culprit.
It's made up.
It's made up. There's nothing I can say, there's nothing I can do in order to fix this. And it frustrates the confrontation efforts, And here, the people that normally struggles a lot are those people who depends on the emotional mind. Because we have got the emotional mind and the logical mind. You need both of them, but you need them to be balanced. You need to have part of the emotional mind and part of the logical mind, and one should never subdue the other. But there are those people who depend more on how they feel.
Sure.
And don't use logic. They depend, how they feel becomes they have their final say.
Their compass.
It's the compass, it's the radar of their lives. They always depend on how I feel. I'm never wrong.
Sure.
With us blacks, others, they even say, I'm a white person. You don't help him. In other words, they're actually saying they've got a blood of being a witch doctor in them.
Sure.
So once they know they are prophetic, once they feel, it's like this.
Okay, it must be so.
It must be so. But the thing is, they forget how many times they've been wrong. Even if they thought it was so and they were wrong, they don't count it in. You know what? I was wrong the other time. I felt so strong about it. But what if I'm wrong again? So the safe thing is, don't come to conclusion.
Wow.
Don't depend on assumptions. Don't just listen to what people are saying, because that's another issue. There are people who have appointed themselves as guardian angels of other people's marriages.
Sure. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, do you wanna?
These are the people that will always bring the news into the spouse.
Sure.
And say, you know what? I work with your husband. Your husband is doing 1, 2, 3. Now, you never stop to think, what is their intention of bringing the news to you? Because you never employ them as your private investigator in the workplace. But these people are always coming to bring you the news about what your spouse is doing, one way or another. And if you are not careful, you can gullibly believe this person. And if you believe what people are saying or thinking, I'm not saying don't listen to them. I'm not saying they are always wrong. But I'm saying it will be foolishness to fully, take them at their word. Because in the first place, some of them don't have they don't like to see people happy. There are people that you think they are your friends. When they bring, I know this story, I saw actually the other time a story on television. This girl kept on bringing the bad news about this boyfriend of this one. Please understand, I'm not trying to encourage boyfriends and all that stuff and girlfriends that are just playing with each other, that are, that are just playboys and playgirls. But this story, this girl is looking at this other boyfriend and girlfriend, they are happy. And then she keeps coming and saying, I don't like your boyfriend. always keep on coming and telling her what the boyfriend is doing, how bad the boyfriend is. And this one trusts the friend.
Sure.
And then finally, based on what this girlfriend was saying, she dumps the boyfriend.
Sure.
Guess what? The girlfriend now is going to the boyfriend because all along she was, and all of a sudden the things that were wrong were done by this boyfriend. She's no longer seeing them now. She's the one who wants to see herself in there. But the boyfriend saw through her anyway and kicked her away. But imagine how this girlfriend would have felt when she would have lost the boyfriend because this girlfriend was, that she thought was after helping her, and now you find that now she's now going on with this guy.
Sure.
So these are the kind of people sometimes that are around us. We are not sure what are people's intentions.
Sure.
Others are just bitter because they have gone through a rough patch themselves. They just feel bad that you are doing well in your marriage. So they just want to stir things up. So you've got to be careful who you listen to. Don't just listen to people and take them at face value. If they talk, it's okay. But please do your own spade work. Please do your own. Don't just conclude they are right. I believe them. No, how can you believe somebody you saw overnight of a person that you have been married for years?
Sure.
So those are what I call, the private marriage, private self-appointed private marriage private investigators.
Wow, man.
Sometimes that can be dangerous. Sometimes it can be good, but for me, I would say the safest thing, try to avoid listening to them. If you do, let it be a fruitful information in a way that you will investigate them in a very non-biased manner, non-prejudicial manner, and try to look at all the facts. Because sometimes there are people that might be genuinely concerned and bringing you a genuine warning or information that if you look into it, it could save you pains in the future. But all I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying don't listen to them, but all I'm saying is, investigate, apply your own mind, listen to, go all out to find out.
Absolutely. Man, I think, what you just said there, probably one of the antidotes for, prejudice is to hear it, as I said, to hear from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
To go and do your own research and to find out if it is so. And in fact, even the Word of God welcomes us. It says, "Test, and see." That the Lord is good. So and one of the things I can imagine, in a prejudiced conversation or confrontation, when one partner has already made up a mind, I mean, there's no communication. There's nothing, because already they've made up their mind. So whatever you say is you're trying to only patch up so they only see, you're just trying to excuse yourself, defend yourself. Wow. And as you said, so it's absolutely important, for our listeners to do their diligent work and go in and find out, whether the situation is so as it is been reported.
Yes.
And so to what are some of the impact, if I put it that way, of prejudice, apart from just sabotaging the communication? And as you said, I think I like the example that you said. When people around, not everybody with good intentions. Like the example of the girlfriend and the boyfriend. Meanwhile, the intention of the other girl was she actually wants to be with the boy. Wow. So what could be some of the things that could happen in a marriage if prejudice is just left without being taken care?
But John, one of the things that I always stress, it is the issue of value. To every couple, how my wife or husband views me, or how they see me, which in turn interprets into value they put in me, goes a long way. My responses, my interactions in marriage are mostly informed by the value that is attached to me. I think one day we're going to talk about that. But how you see me informs how I respond.
Wow.
And it's not only in marriage, it seems to be everywhere.
Everywhere.
The value you put on something will always, my pastor normally says something like, whatever is not appreciated depreciates. Whatever is valued, appreciates. In other words, if I know my wife thinks I'm a cheater,
Sure.
no matter what, I know that that's how she sees me. I get to a point that in the area of being faithful to her, something gets eroded.
Sure.
Because something tells me that whatever you try anyway, it's useless.
Sure.
What encourages me to not to cheat? Praise the Lord. I'm a believer. I don't cheat because I fear God. That's a primary reason. I don't fear because I am a child of God. It's the right thing to do. So I've already got grace that stops me, that tells me no. The second thing that keeps me from cheating, it is because I know my wife will be disappointed at me cheating. So I don't cheat, secondly, because if I cheat, I will be actually letting my wife down.
Sure.
But if my wife already thinks I am cheating, even though I'm cheating,
Sure.
and if also my relationship with God is eroded or is not really there, so I don't really fear God. But also this second part, I feel that what's the use of being faithful? Anyways, because my wife or my husband thinks I'm cheating. So it puts this person in a vulnerable stage or state where the enemy, when they tempt him, it's easy for them. Now, it's not only on cheating. In any area that you look at a young child, your child. When your child is not, you keep on accusing them of doing something, and when they are not doing, because when they don't do it, they want to please you. So if they think that my parent does not believe in me anyways, so in them there's someone that says, well, what's the reason anyway of keeping and not doing this? So one of the biggest problems about this is, if you are not careful, it erodes the part of value.
Wow.
It says to them, the first thing is anger, or the first is disappointment. I can't believe that my wife, I can't believe that my husband could think and believe this about me. That's disappointment. I can't believe that this is how they think of me. There's that disappointment that sets in. And then that disappointment interprets, is this how they see me? Is this the value they put on me? And that value, therefore, interprets in how, therefore, they respond around marriage.
Wow.
So this is just, some of the things that are dangerous.
Wow.
And the third one is, if you enter with prejudice, these people will not engage with you in confrontation in a healthy manner, because they say, well, what's the use? Why should we confront? Why should we try and fix things? Because they've already concluded in your mind. So I don't want to. They feel that they are wasting time to try and fix things. So things will never be fixed.
Whoa.
Because the issue now is, remember, it is they feel that they are being attacked. Their value in terms of prejudice. So that's some of the things that becomes problematic when you approach confrontation with prejudice already.
Wow. I mean, the effects are far-reaching, more far-reaching.
Actually, this is just the tip of the iceberg. What I've said now is just the tip of the iceberg. It goes deeper. There are many couples right now who have no clue why their marriage are where they are. But it's the repercussions over time of prejudice that have taken place. And this has over time caused a lot of other problems, but the root cause is, it is the point that says, you don't believe in me. It is the point that says, you don't even want to listen to me. You rather believe people from outside, you rather believe your family members, you rather believe other things, but you don't believe what I am saying as your husband, as your wife.
Wow. Man, that's absolutely incredible. And I think maybe, as you said, the word still remains that, for married couples out there, that thing communicates value and worth. And it, if you value them so much, you won't just take hearsay as it, but you have to do your due diligence, go and investigate yourself to find out if it really is so.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I believe we have another important section, and
yes,
we need to cover it before time's up.
Save the best for last.
Okay.
Well, the last part is sex deprivation. In maybe that one, because it's so important. Let's introduce it with a scripture.
All right.
So that we can still remember that we are we're in a Christian station here.
All right. Go for it.
1 Corinthians 7. And I just want us to quickly go there. We're going to read from verse 3 and to verse 5. Let me read it quickly. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also to her wife and to the husband. The wife has no power over her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband has no power over his own body, but the wife. We're talking about married people here. Defraud ye not. This is not a good idea. This is not a suggestion. But this is, you can feel the agents of the command. Defraud you not one the other, except it be with a consent for just a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Wow. I can preach on this. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Now, this is Paul talking to married couples. He is addressing the issue of fornication, of lust and adultery. And he says, therefore, their husband should know, and the husband and wife should give each other the due benevolence. I'm trying to find a better word than due benevolence.
Okay.
They should give each other due benevolence, because the body of the husband is all about the ministering bedroom. He says, don't deprive each other for any reason. Don't deprive each other. Don't punish one another. Don't keep yourself from each other, because your body is not your body, it's the husband's.
Yo. What did you say?
And the wife says, you husbands, your body is not. So my body belongs to my wife.
Wow.
So I should not deprive my wife of what God has put in him for her.
Sure.
And God says it's clear, except it be with an agreement. We agree that, well, for this is time, and Paul says it should not be too long still. For this time, up till this time, we are going to, we're gonna take some time off from the minutes of the bedroom, so that we may pray.
Wow.
The only reason that Paul gives for staying away, it is when you are gonna be fasting and praying. So because of this prayer, not every time you fast and pray, you also abstain.
Yeah.
But there are prayers that you are doing, and you believe that for this particular prayer, we need to abstain even from sex. And you need to agree. You don't wake up in the morning and say, today I've decided. You're not getting anything, I'm fasting. You agree on it.
Wow.
And he gives a reason why.
Wow.
So that the enemy does not have an opportunity to tempt you because of your inconsistency, of your incontinency. That's how he puts it there. Now, sex was created by God, beautifully so, so that it can play a very important role among the married couple. You know, we talk about that later on in the book, or my second book actually,
Yes.
which is the marriage reset button. But if you change, the sex was never created to be a knobgiri, to be a weapon, to be used to put each other back on track. Because if you do so, you are actually now confusing the role of sex. And if you do so, it is, if for example, you are confronting somebody and you tell yourself, I'm going to punish them. I'm not going to give them sex so that they can know, they can learn the lesson.
Sure.
That's the best mistake. You never make that mistake. You never fix things by depriving each other.
Sure.
Or if you get confronted, you decide to yourself, well, I'm going to show them. I'm going to teach them a lesson, never to just confront me. So I'm not going to give them.
Sure.
That's a bad mistake. Now, please understand, I understand that we are created very differently. That I am well aware of. You know, men, we are created more to be physical. But women, now, there's a man that puts it like this. If you want to get to the man, you know, if you want to get to the man, go through his zip, and then you'll go to his heart. If you want to get to a woman, go through her heart, and you will end up in her zip.
Very different.
Very differently. Because women generally are very emotional beings. When they approach sex, they don't give sex to relieve. They give sex because they are they are happy emotionally. When they are happy emotionally, then it opens the doors. But for a man, we are not necessarily emotional beings. That is why sometimes there's a problem here. If I am fighting with, if I'm not agreeing with my wife, there's something that bothers us. If this thing has not been resolved, my wife, because it bothers her emotionally, if she's bothered her emotionally, downstairs it will not be open for me. So we need to deal with that. But for us men, we are able to say, okay, we are still dealing with this, but let's put a pause. With a big note underneath that pause that says to be continued later. Whatever is whatever we're dealing with, we can continue later. We put continue later, but now pause.
Okay.
But for wives, they don't have that button. For that button disappears, and then only when the issue is dealt, then the play button is big.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to show here is sometimes it's not because the wives, when there's something that is bothering them and they need to engage in confrontation to solve the issue. Sometimes they might not be very functional in the bedroom. Not because they are punishing you, but because they emotionally, they are not in the best place. So I don't want us to confuse this technique with that issue. But I'm trying to talk about people that says, well, intentionally, this is how I'm going to punish him. This is how I'm going to punish her. I'm going to deprive her. I'm going to keep this away from them. And Paul says, don't do that. Because if you do so, you're opening a door for the enemy. So it's a worst mistake. Never use sex as a tool for confrontation. It's never a good idea. It was never created for that. It was created for everything. It was created to unite you, to make you one, and to merge you together as a couple, but never for a tool for confrontation. I know that this was higher grade for you, brother.
This is another level. Well, we haven't graduated yet, but it's good. It's good for us to learn this. It's very important. I want to find out, Pastor, and when, okay, we say don't deprive each other, of that vital ministry, which is very, very vital. It is fulfilling both ways. And so I want to ask a question now. I heard somebody say something, but I want to hear it, about when, should it be, say, for example, the man is tired, he's come from a long trip somewhere, just wants to relax or something like that, and the wife is ready, or the wife is in a difficult space, and the man is is eager, so when should there be some sort of agreement on, so that the one doesn't feel like they're being deprived? So when is the right time, or how does this thing happen?
That's a very good question. Listen, those things happens. I mean, we are living very busy lives, and but the most important thing here is communication. That's number one. But number two, remember that Paul says even if it does happen, it should not be too long. It should not be, too long. Should communicate. But I don't feel. I feel tired. But sometimes, remember, marriage is about self-sacrificing. It is sometimes about being selfless, not just thinking about yourself only. Remembering that you are not married to a robot, you are married to somebody with emotions and feelings. So sometimes it takes you realizing, you know what? I know that I'm tired right now, but if I've been tired for a week, how about this person I'm married to? Why can't I sacrifice myself for once? Just so that for the sake of my marriage, I know that at least we are not according to the word. I don't take too long being apart, because I don't want to give an enemy an opportunity. And also it takes as well you prioritizing your marriage. If there are things that are taking too much of your time, it's about prioritizing. Make time for your marriage. Make time for your marriage. At least if this spouse of yours can see, you are not just throwing it, you are not just not valuing the time of you being together. Sometimes you can say, you know what, I'm too busy this week, but guess what? I'm going to book a place out on weekend. Let's just go out in that place and enjoy ourselves for a night. It needs you to make time because this is the core business. Your marriage is a core business. Whatever else is making you busy there, it's a support, it's supplementing your marriage. If the supplements becomes more important than the main thing, then there's a problem.
Wow, absolutely. Yeah, I heard somebody saying that sex in marriage is not always to get, but it is even more so to give.
Actually, it's more fulfilling when you give.
Wow.
It's more fulfilling when you engage in sex. The greatest romantics are those who have learned not just to go in and get and withdraw, but are those who go there to give. Wow. So that can never be more truer. So it shows, therefore, if you wait until you feel like it, it can deter, especially in marriage. It can, because you see, the thing is, sometimes we confuse lust feelings. Because people, for example, that were not yet married, they were driven more by feelings into doing the things that they were doing. When you get married, not just in terms of sexually, but in terms of loving your spouse, you have got now to not only be led by feelings, but to be led now by saying, you know what, I don't want to use I'm trying to find a lighter word. I don't want to make this, you've got to have something bigger than feelings. That says, you know what, I'm committed to you. I'm committed to this marriage. I'm committed to loving you. Once you make up your mind that even if I don't feel like it, but I'm still committed, guess what? That's when you will enjoy the true and the deepest kind of love.
Wow. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm really enjoying this. There's a lot of good information, not only for myself but for our listeners and viewers out there. So, Pastor, we have like about 10 minutes remaining, and I wanna find out. God created this, as I said, sex drive in everyone, which is important for it to be fulfilled. And now, and especially, let's say, okay, from a man's perspective, I'm not a woman, so I cannot speak for a woman, but from a man's perspective, what does sex deprivation in marriage communicate and the effects thereof?
Okay. The manufacturers of cars created cars, and they keep on improving their designs to be driven, to do errands, to go to work, to go to many places. Praise the Lord for cars. The flights are very safe and a very good mode of transportation. If you drive before you get the license, you'll be arrested. Are you getting this?
Yes.
It's good that the cars do not start being good the day you get the license. But if you drive before you get the license, you'll be arrested. But if you drive having the license, it will be said you're legal. Because if you drive before, you might cause accidents because you're not ready to drive. Marriage is the same in sex in marriage. Sex outside marriage is bad because you can create accidents. God created, I normally say to my children, God created sex is beautiful. It's the best thing that God has ever created. But if you engage in sex before marriage, it's very terrible and dangerous. So if you wait for the right time, if you don't, and I go deep and I give them examples and examples. So God created sex to be beautiful. But what needs to happen is when you are in marriage, there are many people that before they got married, they were chasing after marriage. It was illegal after sex. When they got married, they are running away. That's also illegal.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say, I'm answering your question. So what I'm trying to say is, listen here, God created sex for a purpose. It's the integral part of marriage. It's very crucial. It does a lot of things. One of the things I've learned about one of those is that when a couple has a healthy bedroom ministry, you find that all around, even if they had a problem somewhere, when they are healthy bedroom ministry, it's able to deal. They've got shock absorbers. Everything else becomes easy. These people, it's easy to love but when the marriage in the bedroom is dry, you see that every part of the marriage is squeaky. They have got short circuits. They have no tolerance for each other. They are always easy to just jump on each other's throats. But if these people are happy in marriage, you see, even if this one is making a mistake, it's just brush. So it's okay. It's all right.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's one of the best things that God really created.
It is.
And we us, some of us, are waiting, and I trust God, even for those who are waiting, God is gonna, answer them and all that. So, Pastor, just a final question. Let's, talk about, we know marriages have been sabotaged, badly due to, issues of unfaithfulness. And many times they come from things like this. So if people already find themselves in a bad spot, I mean, they don't even, it's like strangers living together in the same house, that bad. How can they reforge and kindle that fire again, to just bring the two together once more?
Brother John, all I can say is in marriage, I've got to be intentional about everything. I grew up in a farm with a river that used to run just beneath the farm. My grandmother did not like it when we went swimming. She did not want us to go swimming. So it was illegal for us to go swimming. But guess what? We love to go swim. We would put Vaseline before we go to the water because the dry scalp, the dry skin will be a giveaway.
That you saw.
And also, if you put Vaseline after swimming, it will show that you have just put in some Vaseline. Yes. So we're clever. Right? So we'll put Vaseline, go swim. When we are done, we bask in the sun, and then we'll remain. The skin will be good. But guess what? The eyes will give away. Kids. But one thing that I always learned is sometimes that river water will be so cold. If you put your foot in there, you would not want to swim. But when you see others enjoying themselves, but if you put your foot in there, if you go out, if you're swimming and enjoying, and you go out into the sun, to go back will be difficult again. So if you put your foot in, all you need to do is just to jump in.
Yeah, I know.
When you jump in, you will enjoy. What am I trying to say here is, if you feel that you are no longer having that fire, that spark, what you need to do is to jump in. You'll find that if you jump in, it's not going to be long before again you enjoy. You've got just keep doing it. One of the things about the bedroom ministry is the more you do it, the more you grow into it. Wow. The more the sparks keeps happening. What I normally challenge couples that are going through a dry season and they feel that there's no spark, they say, listen, make a program that says for a month. I know that it's going to be a bit difficult for others. For a month, challenge yourselves. Wow. To engage in that, to have fellowships. If you can, every day, except when your wife is in a period, in a time of the month. So if you do that, you find that many couples that are, because the mind says if you do it too often, you'll get tired of it. No, not with that ministry. The more you do it, the more something gets wakened up. Wow. And I've seen that those who go into that program, by the time they finish, they are in another level. So what I'm trying to say is, when you feel that you're not there, because you can't go out and try to replace this. You've got to make this work. Wow. And what makes this work is keep the gears oiled and going. And you will see it will run smoothly.
Wow, that is amazing news out there. That is like very encouraging, and this is high level, high level stuff. For those married out there, please take this advice. This is a man of God, and very, very well experienced in coaching marriages, and we want the very best for your marriage. Thank you for all the support that we're seeing out there, and we want to encourage you to really build your marriage. Sex is absolutely important, and God created it to bring the two together. So, Pastor, I know we are concluding this section of confrontation, and we've dealt with prejudice and sex deprivation. Just if you can just round it up for us in a nice way, and to leave a parting shot for our listeners.
just a disclaimer to those who are like John who are not married. Do not practice this at home.
It is well.
It's dangerous. One of the most beautiful things that a single person can do is to abstain. I'm talking now as a Christian pastor. Is to you're already late. But guess what? If you can say, Lord, from go there with the mind that says, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me let them hear them out with an open mind. Let me not conclude. Let me not reach conclusion until I hear them out. Let me not conclude until I have facts that I know that are unrefutable.
Absolutely.
And if you are married, never make the mistake of using sex as a weapon to fight, to confront, or to discipline your spouse. Wow. It is never healthy. It is not biblical. God never created it to be like that.
Wow.
And to all those who are married, may God continue blessing your marriage. May God, that we are going to December. We are going to the festive season. I pray that your marriage will even be stronger.
Amen.
I pray that the Lord will bless you with a gift of the healthy and a beautiful and a healthy marriage.
Absolutely.
And lastly, my dear friend today, is having a 13th anniversary. Bishop Bongs Kalabila. I want to say to him and his wife, a big and a happy 13th anniversary to both of them.
Wow, congratulations and a beautiful anniversary to Bishop. Thank you so much, Pastor, for this incredible session. Very informative, very powerful, very well packaged. For our listeners out there, you can always get the video on Facebook. We don't delete our videos. This, I believe, will be a help for many, many people. Out there, people who maybe been going through these issues and things like that. So stay tuned. We bring the goodness of God nearer to you. We bring incredible men and women of God who have such an amazing ministry and testimony. Pastor Khaya is one that we really celebrate here and we acknowledge and appreciate. Thank you so much, sir. This has been the end for the confrontation, but stay in tune because we have much more just ahead. We're going to listen to Work It Out by Ty Tribet. Don't forget, it's every Monday at 10. But we will give you an update should times change. Thank you for being with us through the entire show. It's a pleasure to serve you.